afternoon. It is wonderful to be here and to see so many of you. I am a teacher. I teach at a law school. I'm an administrator at a law school, but I am a teacher. So I'm always excited to be in the company of students. And I want to first thank for the very gracious invitation, Evangeline. I don't see you here. She's probably working. For the very kind invitation to be with you today. Thank the Dean as well for allowing us to be here, hosting us. It's not something when you've got a beautiful building like this, I'm sure you get requests every day. And so we thank you for that. And then I want to thank what Dre did not say. She's my research assistant. And that she probably gave you things about me because she got them from my loving children. But I do want to try to meet the requirements that Evangeline gave me. And she said, we want to have you talk about you, which is something I normally don't do, and to tell us your journey to the law, which normally I don't do, and also to give some inspiring words, if I could. Let me say this first. I sat where you sat, where you sit right now. I am born and I was raised in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. How many people know what that is? Jay-Z, you know those folk that came out of there, so you can know everything about my background. And when it's necessary, I can go Bed-Stuy on you real good, real quick. You know, it's always in you and it comes right on up. You understand what I'm saying? But to take you to where I should begin, I am, as you've heard, an associate dean at GW Law School. I am an administrator. I am over all of our litigation courses. We have many. We've got a large school, very proud of that, a very diverse school. And in my time there, which I did not realize because I've enjoyed it so much, they wrote me a note and said, you know, you've got to come now to this ceremony because you've, been there 30 years. When I arrived on campus, where I actually graduated, I was the first black female dean in the history of GW Law School. I didn't know that. And I didn't know it because I was in a city that was predominantly black. So it didn't even occur that this could be it. They made a big deal about it. Now they forget it, except they remembered it this year again. But so I came from very humble beginnings. My family was poor, but proud and hardworking, and learned all those things. My dad was a mechanic, and he worked a 12-hour day. So I learned to work very hard all the time. My mother was primarily a homemaker, but at that time we were raised in church. We went to church, Holiness Church, so we went 3 times a week at a minimum. And that has really stayed with me. And so when I talk about where I am, or people talk about where I am now, I still am, Frida from Bed-Stuy. And on yesterday, I was reminded of that. One of my oldest and dearest friends, who I had not talked to in a while, and she and I lost track of each other. She's in California. I came hard. I'm not easy with social media. I just didn't want to do that, but you're around young people and they just, you got to do this, you got to get on Twitter. She put me on Twitter, what was that, last week? Because I didn't want to do it. And so I was on, I had the opportunity to get on LinkedIn. I was hesitant. And I got this note and it said, this is Cookie Lewis from Bed-Stuy. How are you? Is this Alfreda? Is this Frida? And I wrote it back. I said, oh my God, send me your picture. And so I just, that's my roots. It's all family. With the students, before I became president, and they still slip every now and then, I was known as Mama Dean, because I have just been the dean for the Balsa students. And my last year in law school, me and my friends, there were only 30 of us that were graduating, and we had every Friday afternoon, after we got out of class, we went over one of the students' home. He was a Redskin football player, lived out in, Potomac. And they would host us on Friday afternoon. We'd get in the pool, we'd have steaks and all that. And we began to realize we'd never do this again after we graduated. And so we decided to have something we called the graduation banquet, the Balsa first annual graduation banquet. And at that time, we didn't know any better. We just went on and started inviting people. So we invited the Assistant Attorney General of the United States for the Civil Rights Division. We didn't know you could just, you're supposed to go through some kind of protocol. So we just went to his office, and the assistant said yes, and we said, oh, we're from George Washington up the street. We're going to have this banquet. We wondered if he would be a keynote speaker. And she said, well, hold on. And she went in, she came back. He said yes. Now, I would never do that now because, you just don't do that. And then we went to the chairman of the EEOC, and we trotted over there, and we said, well, could we please, see if he can speak at our banquet? And he said yes. The one thing we hadn't done, and you'll appreciate this, we hadn't told the dean anything. So the 30 of us played, we set up a corporation. We had learned corporations. We set up a corporation. It had a time when it would end, put our money together, and finally told our only black faculty member we had done this, and he said fine. We went to a restaurant. It was we killed it, you know what I'm saying. And we all dressed up and stuff. And then we get a call a few days before, and it's come to the dean's office. Well, that was the principal's office, you understand. And so we go there, and they say, he says, are you having he couldn't even articulate. Do you having public officials? And we said, huh? And it was, he said, did you invite the Assistant Attorney General? Which, that's high, that's high cotton, And we said yes, and he said, and the chairman of the EEOC? We said yes. And you have how many people coming? I said, I don't know, we don't know, maybe 125, I don't know. And he was, do you know that we're supposed to know that and provide, Secret Service and all kind of protection? And we just had no idea. And he said, it would have been nice had you invited me and the associate dean. But we were really just trying to stay together, So we did that, and then some of us stayed together. And now that I'm at GW, I've seen some of their children come in as students and graduate, and they call me Mama Dean. So these are the kind of experiences that kind of mold you. So I'm supposed to inspire you. First thing, it doesn't matter where you come from. It's where you're going. Correct? Doesn't matter where you come from. And I have the wonderful privilege of serving as the 77th president of the National Bar Association. Only, in almost 100 years, only the 13th female president of the National Bar Association. Now that's something to clap about. And it has been a joy of service. I wasn't looking back when I started serving and doing all these things. I just liked the run of it. I thought it was just a great thing to do. And the National Bar has a rich history. It was organized in 1925 in Iowa, right? Now, think about that. And there's actually a monument to the National Bar in Iowa. And we have all of these affiliates. We have about 88 affiliates worldwide. And we have something, I forgot they looked up, they said something like We've got 33 sections. We've got 10 divisions. And, you know, we did a survey, we started counting, and we really have over 100,000 members. Now, they don't all pay, but I'm going to get them to do it this year. They don't pay their memberships on time, but I'm on it. And that when we counted up the clients they had, we actually represent with their clients over 1 million Americans, African Americans, white Americans, Hispanic, whatever, Americans. That's a lot of people. So it keeps me humble, because when I want to go Bed-Stuy, like in the airport, you know what I'm saying, I have to remember that people would look at me and say, oh, you know, she's the president of the National Bar, and those, you know, that lawyer, my lawyer, I think, you know, so I have to do that. But it's a tremendous honor and privilege. But it's all about service. So the second rule is, it's all about service. It's not about you. It's not about me. You know, Professor Butler said, you know, you're the most influential. I said, and I thought, wow, that's heavy. Influential person. Please don't tell the president of the university that, or others. But it also, it made me, I paused and said, actually, no. Jesus Christ is the most influential and powerful person at GW University. So that's how I was raised, and I keep that on my, if you have whether you're a person of faith or whatever faith or all faith, I do interfaith or every year at the university, that keeps me humble. Nothing that I have achieved has been because I'm so special, so gifted, because I can write well, I'm a published author. All of that is not, it's down at those deep roots on the inside, right? So you always got to stay humble. The National Bar Association is a historic association. When you all become lawyers or law students, because we have a law student division, you should join the National Bar. The National Bar has been at the forefront of every civil rights action, activity in the United States. Our members, some of our members are still living, they represented Dr. Martin Luther King, Mrs. Rosa Parks. They represented the plaintiffs in Brown v. Board of Education. They represented the Little Rock Nine. One of my relatives by marriage is still alive. She's a Little Rock Nine, and she remembers those lawyers from the NBA coming and helping them. And so we come from a strong Houstonian social engineer background. You all will learn about more of that when you become lawyers. And every one of you can become a lawyer. Every single one of you can go to law school. Every single one of you can succeed at law school. So I'm looking forward to having all of you as, I won't be the president, but I'll be in the back saying, second children, because the young people have to come forward and take over the organization and make it live for what you have to have for the future. So I was installed, and I had this thing going into it because I like service, love service. You don't get paid for it. You just do it, and you have to do it well. You excel. So I was installed as president just July 25th. Someone said, oh, you've been in office 3 or 4 months. I said, no, we've been in office 6 weeks. But we wanted to jump off and do something. I wanted to do something different. So I ran on this platform of eliminate race and gender disparities. That's a big deal, but we can do that for 10 years. And then I said, well, I want to institute the first National Bar Association Women's Equity Day. How many people know what that is? Black Women's Equity Day. See, raise your hand. It's okay. Black Women's Equity Day, August 22nd. The first day of the year that black women, regardless of where they work, what their title is, how high, how low, reach the salary of their white, non-Hispanic counterpart when they hit December 31st of the year before. So when I got installed, I knew that black women across the nation were still trying to catch up with their white male, non-Hispanic counterparts, what their salary was by December 31st. And so we had to wait till the 22nd. So we wanted to mark that day. And it was different. And you know, I know my frat boy brothers, you know, they kind of, you know what I'm talking about. You in the South, you know what I'm talking about. So I had to give them something. I said, all I need is a few good men, very good men. So they said, oh, okay, now we can join in, okay. So we set out just to mark the day. And it hit like fire. Had never been done before. We ended up, we thought we'd do one day, it was actually a week. We started off that Sunday, a church in Annapolis, First Baptist Church of Annapolis, Maryland. Renamed their service and devoted it to the NBA Black Women's Equity Day. Brought in a preacher from New York who said, just hold on a little while, black women. A few good men. And then we spent the whole week trying to catch up with this vision. I was on 6 syndicated radio stations interviewed. And the 7th one I missed because I was on a plane trying to go to a speaking engagement. We set up a website, a separate website, so that people could take the pledge. Take the pledge that you will do everything you can to try to eliminate at all, whatever level you're at, this disparity. Because you know what it is? It's a family problem. Most families rely either exclusively or heavily on the income of the black woman, the mother. So if she can't catch up for 8 months, that's a family problem. If she can't catch up, that's an economic problem. If she can't catch up till August, that's an education problem. The kids go to school in September. You buy things before then, right? Computer, clothes, get your books. So that we need to change that. That's a community problem. It is true. My husband's a lawyer too. He's in business. My children did not wake up in the morning like I did and wondered, am I going to be able to get these books? My children don't live like that. But my community has plenty of children who need us to stand up and say, enough is enough. The differential has not moved in the last 20 years and is not going to change, the economists say, not going to close this gap till 2026. Now, how do you feel about that, young people? What are you going to do about that? Because, see, I may be gone or too old to fight, but it's still a community problem. It's still a national problem because there's a wage differential that keeps us in a disparity and requires an over-reliance on student loans. So you're going to school instead of buying a house. Y'all with me? So I'm saying this is a real problem. Law students are burdened with debt, and I need to say something about that. And the NBA needs to do something about that. So we're devoting that. So we were on television programs. They had a chat and chew. I didn't know what that was. I'm from New York. But they had chat and chews around the country. I'm being honest. I had no idea I'm at a chat and chew and we're furious. And I'm like, okay, what's a chat and chew? Female legislators in Spartanburg, South Carolina, did an op-ed and also had a press release that day. And then in the District of Columbia, how many people have been to D.C.? And we have, wow, that's a lot. Oh my God, let me get out of here. We have something called Freedom Plaza. How many people know what Freedom Plaza is, right? Freedom Plaza, you go there, you can have, a protest. You're supposed to get a permit. We kind of just rolled the dice, you know what I'm saying? We just figured we wouldn't have that many people interested in, and it was 12 o'clock, high noon, and we figured, good Lord, if we can't get ourselves out of jail, who can we help? But that came from the young people. That didn't come from us old people. Old people said, oh no, we got to get a permit. They said, no, we'll worry about it later. We'll be okay. So we went to Freedom Plaza. We just wanted to have this little thing. And so it actually ended up, it's on the, on Facebook. Someone came and just wanted to take one of our members who's in the video business, took a video, and we ended up, something unprecedented happened. Now understand, this is not about me. This is about leadership and bringing others with you. Because being only you can only do a little bit. So, had no idea. We thought we'd have our moment of silence. And my young lawyers went to and let city officials know. So something unprecedented happened. We got a mayor's proclamation that day was National Bar Association Black Women's Equity Day in the District of Columbia. I think that's pretty good. And then we got a District of Columbia City Council proclamation that said the same thing. Same day, same thing. And then we got a proclamation recognition from Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton that said the same thing. So it wasn't about me having this. I did think of it. I don't know, But as you do more with a group, now what's the next, inspiring lawyer rule number 2? Be a visionary. Innovate, create. When you get into space, you should always be thinking about, what can I do different? What can I do new? Well, I could as president just repeat everything we did, have been doing for 95 years. But I wanted to do something else, something that comes from deep within. But you have to work hard, very, very hard. But one thing you can do, and this is if you decide you want to get into leadership, and I want all of you to consider that, no matter where you want to do it. You could be an entrepreneur, you could go into the House. I've got former students who are now members of Congress. I got some people who are, it's just, you have challenges. How many people know who Michael Avenatti is? You ever heard of that? You know what that is? Okay, he goes on television elsewhere. He's having a couple little challenges. But he's the one who represented the entrepreneur who took on Trump, right? So he took him on. And when they asked him, well, how did you get like this? He said, Dean Robinson taught me everything I know, and I act just like her. And so now I get these, well, what does that mean? I said, we raise them like that. I don't know. But what you want to do is you don't want to be ordinary. You want to excel. So this is what you have to do. And I woke up one morning when I said, people saying, oh, you got to run for NBA president. I said, no, you know that. I'm happy. I'm good. And I woke up and said, if I'm going to work this hard, I might as well be in charge. Is that correct? So within my president and chief executive officer, which I had to put on a board in front of me so I could remember, I am in charge. Within the contours of our Constitution and bylaws, I'm going to do what's necessary to keep the organization strong, alive, and serving the community. Because we can just, get our big checks and go on about our business. So I urge you, if you feel the unction, you might as well be in charge. So you don't want to be, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being a follower. I love the follower. I'm getting ready to go back and be a follower. I told my successor, who is female, so she'll be the 14th female president. Dre, we had to work hard on that, didn't we? And they, oh my God, 2 in a row. Oh my God. Oh, what's gonna happen? Okay, but if you gonna do it and you're gonna work hard, then excel and be a leader. We need you all to be in Congress, to be in the courts, to be in law schools, whatever you want to do, to be business folks. We need you to be in leadership. This is your country. We built this country. We built it. What? Why are we sitting back saying, oh, run them out of there? And that got me into trouble last week, so CBC. And actually, got me in trouble 2 days ago, but this time I didn't say any name. Stop complaining. Get up, vote, and get them out of there. That's in my personal capacity, you see, because we're nonpartisan. Yo, you got that on the tape? Okay. So that there's some things you have to do, and you've got to do them right. You got to do them well. It's okay. It's okay, ladies, to say, I think I want to be in charge. We just did Constitution Day. Was that 2 days ago? That's another thing. Constitution Day, I went to the president in 2013. I said, I think we should do an NBA Constitution Day. Do y'all do Constitution Day here? It was just an idea. So we went to middle schools, teaching about, we've done a lot on know your rights, because we've had to represent, obviously, those who have been victims of murders. Okay, I said it. That's right. But also, we taught them this year about voting. What do we know? Because if you take one middle school child, they go 10 people out. This is what I learned in school today. And in one part of the country, got a text today, they not only did Constitution Day, but the NBA lawyer signed up 140 people who had never voted before. Signed them up to vote. So we have to be about the business of, if we're going to be citizens, we got to be citizens. We got to do what other people can't do. We've got to step out here and, to do, we've got to get everybody who's done time back in our community. You understand? I spoke at the CBC and I said, this is what it's called, do-over. How many people know what a do-over is? Maybe the do-over is, when I was younger, if you did double such, you messed up, you got, oh, wait a minute, that don't count. I got a do-over. Now, I know this crowd doesn't know it, but if you were shooting craps, you know what I'm saying. And you messed up, other than in Vegas, you messed up, you just said, I got to do it, hold on, I got to do over. Okay? We need to embrace those who have served their time in our community. Let them have a do-over. Fully engaged. Why are you having so much pushback? Because if you have them in the communities and they can vote, like in D.C., that's a problem, ain't it? I don't care what party you're, I've got, folks, we have hearty conversations at Thanksgiving. We're all over the place. I tell them, bring it on. Y'all just, y'all talking about, what is that? Stay woke. I like the way Van Jones puts it. He said, I had a clock before, alarm clock before y'all woke up. doesn't matter. We can have anybody we want to, except we have to elect people who will not be a clear and present danger to our democracy. Now, so what is the other thing that you have to do? You have to move fast. Move fast. Before you know it, you'll be 20 years from now, right? You'll forget all the hardships. You'll remember the good things, how wonderful it was. You'll think you wouldn't, but you will. You know, you'll forget you didn't have enough money for the lubies. You will. You'll have the lubies, and you would have put them in the closet and said, I can't wear these things. I can't walk in them. Let me keep in my bag till I have to go someplace. So your service is a privilege. And as a privilege, it's got to be done so right. You know, it can't be just a little bit. So set high goals. Apply to many law schools. Some people say, no, I'm just applying to 4. No. Law schools teach the same mandatory courses because the ABA requires them as every other school. Apply to a lot of schools, law schools. There are great law schools. This is a great law school. Take the LSAT. Take it in time so you can take it again. Apply early. Now, GW, if you decided to apply in January, we have a class of about 464 students. By that time, we would have thousands of applications that we've just taken one at a time as they came in the door. So apply very, very early. Everywhere. Everywhere. Look for new opportunities at all times. Somebody asks you to, would you help me with Evangeline? Where is she? Will you help me with this little conference? Do that. That's how you find sponsors and mentors. That's how you learn skills. That's how you broaden your horizon. Live a moral and principled life. You have to set limits on what you will or will not do. You're staying in the bit, so don't jump in. Now just go back. Manage yourself. Mama's not here, grandma ain't here, grandpa ain't here. Nobody said. Manage yourself. If you need to get up early in the morning so that you can do all of your reading and you're prepared for class, then that's what you have to do. You have to manage yourself. Manage yourself. It's great. I know what college is like. You go out, you hang out, and you're dragging. Put yourself to bed. Manage yourself. You got to listen, and don't be so sensitive. Dre will tell you, we were at a board meeting last week. Was that a board meeting? And, she really should have known better, right? I had my agenda. She had seen the agenda beforehand. And then she said, because she's on the board. And I said, yes. We've got a big board, 50-something people. And she said, Madam President, can we have, what'd you say, half an hour or something? We want to go to 20 minutes or half an hour to read through the legislative agenda because, it's 20-something pages. You know what my response was? No. She was like, everybody else was, uh-oh. But she didn't take it personally. I had to run my meeting on a schedule, right? Sometimes we're too sensitive. Somebody says something to us and we just, whatever. We don't have to be like the sitcoms, right? We can say less than we think. She probably was thinking, something, I thought I knew. But she said, I was just trying to help my colleague over here. So you spoke for him? No, Him, no, too. How about that answer? Find a mentor and a sponsor. A mentor is somebody who's going to always help you think through some things. A sponsor is going to give you opportunities, open up doors for you, call you up, send you an email. I think you'd be great at this job. I will write a letter of recommendation. That's a sponsor looking for opportunities. You've got to do that throughout your life because that will bring you more success, more opportunities to learn. Limit credit card use. I know the spring break thing. It's the last time I'll be able to go on vacation. We all going to the Caribbean. No. The next time when you travel, when you have a job and don't have debt, you'll be staying at the Caribbean for a month. Right? Use credit cards for absolute emergencies. Because we're drowning in debt, young people. When I grew up, everybody wanted to have a house. You weren't getting no credit card. Parents get credit card. You don't have a job. You ain't getting Always look, and this is where I end. Always look for ways to serve your community, your family, your church, and God. And with that, thank you for indulging me.